I'm looking at trying my hand at making a crawler. Don't know how it's going to turn out. We'll give it a shot. It's pretty complicated. It's got those big wings on the front. But I see them online working, and they look like they'd be a great topwater lure. I used to use jitterbugs, which are a little popper sort of thing. These are kind of a step beyond that, so let's give it a try. Well, this is about 4 1/4 inches long. I could make a tubular shape, but I think I'm going to try to shape it like this. I'll have more place in for the weight in here. Plus, it needs to be floating, but I need enough weight at the bottom so it always falls, belly down. It's always upright. There's going to be some large metal wings on here, and those will definitely affect how it floats. Okay, here's the shape of the wing. Looks about right, I would think. Now, I've got some thin stainless steel, which would be really nice for this. It's a little heavier. Want something lighter, harder to work with though. Then I have this plate of thin aluminum that would be very easy to work with, and I think it would be good for the first time that I'm making these, to tell you the truth. There. The idea is to take these 2 wings and mount them on the sides of the lure. Take a look. I'm planning on doing that. If I can draw it here. Here's the sides of the lure body. I'm planning on making a couple of eye loops like this, embedded in the lure body, and of course this is enlarged. And here's the wing. With a hole in the wing like this, so that the wing will be mounted like this, and it'll be able to flip up, and this tab will be bent, so it can only go back so far. I want it to go back about 45 degrees or more, not all the way out to the side of the lure, about like that. It'll flop down, and it'll come up. But maybe it'll make sense as we go along. This is the contour that I want to get it down to. I had to glue a couple pieces of wood together because I didn't have enough pine that was thick enough. I did have some thick maple and walnut, but I didn't want to use those because this is more buoyant. It's white pine in Maine, and it's quite a bit lighter than those other woods. So it's, density must be a bit less. I want that buoyancy if I can get it. So glue 2 pieces together. They're dry now, ready to cut out. this is the shape of the lure, and I've gone and drawn in with a few measurements, but after that I tend to draw things in freehand. I seem to work pretty good that way, and then after using my eye, I can get them symmetrical. Narrowed it down a little bit, and tapered the front kind of stubby, and then a longer taper towards the tail. So take this over to the bandsaw, and then the sander, and we'll go from there. That came down really nice on the sander. The symmetry happened without me hardly trying. It just happened. It's great. So, I need to round this off now. I think it's going to be flatter on the top and round on the bottom. So it's going to be a little frog-like, even though it's not going to be a frog. It's a big lure, though. I better carve a lot out of it. How it's looking so far? Almost looks like I can make a bird out of it. Well, there are 2 eyelets for each of these wings, and I've got 2 dots, punches on both sides. I'm going to drill these out now to put them in. And what I've done, that dot right there shows halfway up the lure and the center point of the lure, the physical center point, not the mass. And the lure hinge needs to go slightly below the center line and slightly in front of it in order for it to work good. And that's what I've got. So hopefully it'll work good. I've got to put some weight in here. It's definitely a top water lure, so that's not a problem, but I do need so that when I cast it, particularly with those wings on it, it falls this way and not upside down. So it's a fairly big lure, so I can weight it pretty good. It won't affect it too much. I'm going to have 3 spots where I'm going to put the weight. One is going to be in the center of the lure, the center of mass. The other one is going to be just behind it, and I'm going to put a smaller one just ahead of it. Casting and then traveling. Hopefully one will hit the water and this curve will make it go up. The other one will hit the water, the same thing will happen as it's retrieved. Well, I'm not going to go too much further here because I am waiting for a new lead pot. Actually, my first lead pot. I've been using a homemade one. And I want to get the lead in, and then I want to get the hardware on, some of the hardware on. I want to seal it, and then put it in the water and see how it floats. And then we'll go from there. I want to do all of the painting and everything before I put these fins on. Interesting thing. I had to drill 2 holes on this side, 2 holes on the other side. And I lined them up as best I could. I measured them and I eyeballed them. When I drilled through the holes from one side and then the other side, the holes actually met up dead center on both of them, the top one and the bottom one, where these eyelets go through. That's pretty amazing. That'll never happen again. Reminds me of that whale coming out of the water in that insurance commercial. actually goes pretty good. I'm wondering if a little more weight on the back end might be good. Well, we're going to go ahead, instead of putting a base coat of white, I'm putting a base coat of black. And I'll probably let it dry and do a second one. You didn't see how this one was torn, but I've torn it in a specific shape so that this torn part here will come down over the eye and it'll kind of arch over the body from the bit. God, it's looking more and more like a bird. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if I'll fish with it much. If I make another one of these, I would definitely make it a little bit smaller, much less heavy. My medium heavy rod cast it with it. There's some weight on there. And I think I would make these blades a little bit wider and a little bit longer for something this size. If I make something smaller, these would probably be the right size. But it was kind of fun to try it out, and I'm glad that it worked.